This video is pertaining to a question that I received through an email that is dealing with question 4 on assignment 4. And what the question really is kind of stating, at least the way I interpret it is as how can you say find average daily gain by using one particular date rather than inserting say a whole column of dates. So instead of saying coming in here and inserting say a column right here and saying worked date, and then you say 12-1-15 and making that run all the way down and then doing your formulas that way, instead of doing that, instead of having a full column of dates, you can actually have one date off to the side as you see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you really how to do that with setting up these dates off to the side. That's kind of what the homework assignment is asking for in question 4. It wants a weaning date. It wants a yearling date. And it wants, we'll leave that blank, and then it wants a current year date or year. And then that formula was actually said it was equals to year, open parenthesis, today, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, spits out 2016. But for this is going to be an example of kind of how you do that. And for this example, we're going to say this is worked date. So it coincides with this little graph I have made up, say purchase weight and first round worked weight. So we want to figure out what the average daily gain in between these two dates or these two times were. So we all know, or we should know from the homework, that average daily gain is equal to final weight minus initial weight divided by final date minus initial date. So that's going to be our formulas that we're going to work off of. And so we come up here to average daily gain, and to follow with the formula we say equals, open parenthesis, final weight minus initial weight divided by final date. So we had this one cell over here that we're going to reference, minus initial date, which in this case is the purchase date. So we come up with, say, 1.87. And then we go ahead and we try to drag it down. Well, we run into a problem. We actually see that these are all spitting out zeros. Why are they doing that? Well, what's going on is whenever you cell reference, unless you lock in a cell, when you cell reference, as you move, as you drag cells across and copy these formulas, it actually moves with the direction that you're copying. So in this case, we drug it down one cell. We can see that all of these cells came down one, just as we did here. Now if we had a column where everything in this column said 12-1-2015, this would work out great. But if we don't want to do that, there's a second way to where we can actually reference a particular cell and leave it that way and let it be locked in. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to find the cell that we want to stay the same. Now we want this cell to stay the same because it's a single date and it's not changing, it's not moving, it has nothing to do with which particular animal it is, because they all got worked on the same day. So we want to lock that cell in, we want to absolute that cell. So how we do that is by simply clicking on that particular cell number and letter identification in the formula box, which is right here, and we just press F4. Now if you see there, it threw a $sign in front of the K and a $sign in front of the 3. Now I said that you can simply do that by pressing F4. Well, with different computers it acts different ways. In my particular computer, I simply press F4 and it throws the $signs in there. On particular laptops, you might have to press the FN key and then F4. And some other laptops may be different. I'm just not quite sure. But for the most part, you generally just press F4 and it throws these dollar signs in there. If you, for some reason, cannot figure out how to press F4, maybe your computer acts in a different way, the keys aren't the same, and you still want to lock in a cell, well, you can simply do that by typing in a dollar sign. So instead of saying pressing F4, you can literally put a dollar sign in front of the letter, dollar sign in front of the number, and now it locks in that cell the same way. So what happens here is now that it's locked in, you can drag it down, and we'll find that all the formulas are working. Well, what happened exactly? So before, when it wasn't locked, it was able to drag down one. But now that it's locked in place, everything else is allowed to move, but this one will not. This K3 stays stationary at all times. So if we look in the formula box, we see that it has moved down a row. Every cell has moved down a row with the exception of K3. It has remained the same. And you could actually look through all of these and you'll see that K3 remains the same, but all of these stay in line with the row. And that's how you'll use cell referencing and locking in cells for this particular assignment. So I hope this helps and helps clarify question 4 on the homework for week 4. You're going to have to input these several dates in there, or these several stationary amounts. So just put them all to the side, and then whenever you go to cell referencing, make sure you lock in the cell that you want to stay the same, and you should be able to complete question 4 without any trouble. If anybody else has any questions, need me to clarify anything, make another short video, please let me know. I will do what I can to help you out. Thank you very much and good luck.